Fantal Tollbooth by Northern Juster. Chapter 1 Milo. There was once a boy named Milo who didn't know what to do with himself. Not just sometimes, but always. He was in school. He longed to be out, and when he was longed to be in. On the way, he thought about coming home, and coming home, he thought about going. Wherever he was, he wished was somewhere else. And when he got there, he wondered why he bothered. Nothing really interested him, least of all things that should have. It seems to me that almost everything is a waste of time, he remarked one day as he walked dejectedly home from school. I can't see the point in learning to solve useless problems or subtracting turnips from turnips or knowing where Ethiopia is or how to spell February. And since no one bothered to explain, otherwise he regarded the process of seeking knowledge as the greatest waste of time at all. As he and his unhappy thoughts hurried along for a while. He was never anxious to be where he was going. He liked to get there as quickly as possible. It seems a great wonder that the world, which was so large, could sometimes feel so small and empty. And worst of all, he continued sadly, there's nothing for me to do nowhere. I care to go, hardly anything worth seeing, he punctuated. This last thought, with such a deep sigh that a house sparrow singing nearby stopped and rushed home to be with his family. Without stopping or looking, he rushed past the buildings and busy shops that lined the street and in few minutes reached home. Dashed through the hall, hopped into a lift, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and off again, opened the door of the flat, rushed into his room, dropped directly into a chair and grumbled softly another long after. He looked glumly at all the things he owned, the books that were too much trouble to read, the tools that he never learned to use, the small electric car he hadn't driven for months or was it years, and the hundreds of other games and toys, and the bats and balls, and bits and pieces scattered around it. And then, on a far side of his room, he noticed something that had certainly never seen before. Who could possibly have left such an enormous package and such a strange one? For while it was not quite square, it was definitely not round, and it was larger than almost any other big package he'd ever seen. Attached to one side was a bright blue envelope which said simply, "For my love who has plenty of time." Of course, if you have ever received a surprise package, you can imagine how puzzled and excited my love was. And if you had never received one, play close attention because someday you might. I don't think it's my birthday, he puzzled, and Christmas must be months away, and I've been outstandingly good, or even good at all. He had to admit, even to himself. Probably I won't like it anyway, but since I know where it comes from, I can't probably send it back. He thought about it for quite a while and then opened the envelope. But just to be polite, one junior termite told book. It started and then it went on. Easily assembled at home and for use by those who have never traveled in lands beyond. Beyond what? Milo thought. He continued to read. This package consists of the following items: one generator fake tollbooth to be erected according to the direction, three precautionary signs to be used in a precautionary fashion, assorted coins for use in paying tolls, one map up to date and carefully drawn by the master cartographers, depending natural and man-made features, one book of rules and traffic regulations which may not be bent or broken, and in smaller letters at the bottom, it concluded results are not guaranteed. But if you are not perfectly satisfied, your waste time will be refunded. The following instruction, which told him to cut here, lift there, and fold back all around. He soon had the toll book unpacked and set up on his stand. He fitted the windows in place and attached the roof, which extended out on both sides and fastened on the coin box. It was very much like the toll booths he had seen on family trips, except, of course, it was much smaller and purple. What a strange present, he thought to himself. The last they could have done was to send a motorway for it's terribly incompatible without one. But since at time there was nothing else he wanted to play with, he set up the three sides, slowed out approaching toll. Please have your fare ready, have your destination in mind, and slowly unfolded the map. The announcements started. It was a beautiful map in many colors, showing principal roads, rivers, sea, towns, and cities, mountains, valley, and doors and sites of outstanding interest, both beautiful and historic. The only trouble was that Milo had never heard of any of the places it indicated, and even the name sounded most particular. I don't think this really is a country, he concluded after studying it carefully. Well, it doesn't matter anyway, and closed his eyes and poked a finger at the map. Dictionopolis, read Mallow slowly when he saw what his finger has chosen. Oh, well, I might as well go there as anyway. He walked across the room and dusted the car carefully. Then, taking the map and the rule book with him, he hopped in and, for lack of anything better to do, drove slowly up to the toll booth. As deposited his coin and rolled past, she remarked wisely, I do hope this is an interesting game, otherwise the afternoon will be so terribly dull. Thank you.